Hello and welcome to the Quest for Games. I'm Jerry, and in this video, I'm going to do a teach of the expansion pack for Champions of Midgard. This time it's the Dark Mountains expansion for Champions of Midgard. This adds some additional monsters to fight and some land journeys. It also adds a new warrior, the Archer. I'm not going to go back over the setup of the full game. I'm going to use a game that's already set up and just teach you how to set this up and then how to play this expansion. This expansion also gives you the ability to play with 5 players instead of just the 4. So let's get it to the table and start to teach. Hello and welcome to the setup for Champions of Midgard, the Dark Mountain expansion. I have set up the main board for a 2-player game the way it would have been set up for the regular Champions of Midgard. I'm only going to talk about the new things that we've added because of the Dark Mountain expansion. What we've added is this board on the side for the Dark Mountain and this market stall, which I showed the market stall when I was talking about the main game setup, but the market stall did actually come with the Dark Mountain expansion. There is a new one of the marketplaces, which is this one that says permanent on the back, and it's the bagger one. Technically, they recommend they show you putting these things over on that side of the table, but so that I can reach them easier, I'm going to put them on this side of the table. So we've set up the board, like I said. We have a new set of dice. We have these green dice, which are the Archer's dice. I'll put those over there with the rest of the warrior dice. We have a new set of cards that are the land journey cards. And those you'll shuffle up and put right there for the land journey. And we also have a new set of monster cards. And for those cards, we'll shuffle them up and put them right here. It did come with a 5th player. So because of that 5th player expansion, they did give us more long ships. So I can now put out all of these additional long ships for a 3, 4, or 5 player game. And you'll see, and that's something I should probably talk about here, you'll see that there's this little mountain. There's a little mountain symbol on this card. That's kind of telling you that it came from the Dark Mountain expansion. This expansion also did come with 2 new leaders that you could put into the game and you could pick from. But those new leaders you choose from those new leaders the same as you would choose any of the other leaders. So while we're setting up, I already set those up. I should set these up too. So you're flipping over your monsters. We're going to set this up the same way. We're going to set up journey cards and a monster card for each one of these. And you will now see that on their cards, they're pretty much the same. It still says that's how much attack they do to you. That's how much attack you need to do to them or damage you need to do to them. 10 glory for being this person. You cannot use archers against them, and you get 2 archer dice. So that's how you would acquire the archer dice, is by defeating those monsters. There were additional trolls, draugrs, and monsters that are shuffled into those decks that came with the Dark Mountain expansion. And that's why I was showing you that little symbol, because you can see that little mountain. These are monster cards, and those monster cards have that little symbol on them, so they get shuffled into this monster deck. And if you want to remove this expansion and go back to the plain vanilla game, you have to go through your monster deck and remove any of the ones that shows those mountains on. That's the setup. So let's talk about the rules and how to play. So I'm not going to go back over the whole main board and the rules and how to play. It plays the way the base game plays. This expansion just adds some things to the base game. So one of the things that I can do now with my worker is I can say my worker is going to come out here. They can go out here to try to fight one of the two monsters that are out here. To set this all up, let me just say that I got a couple of dice, just grab a few dice. And so I'm going out to fight this person. We go through the whole rest of the thing and do the normal turn. You're committing dice. I don't need all these, but I'll commit them all anyway. So I'll commit all the dice that I have to that attack. You go through the normal, okay, who's fighting the trolls, who's fighting the draugrs, who's fighting the monsters, and then we come around and we say who's fighting the Burgessars. So when we come around to fighting them, just like when we did the journey, we have to do the land journey. So you flip over the land journey, and it says I have to lose 1 gold if I'm able. Well, if I had some gold, would have to sacrifice the gold because a thief caught up with us on the land journey. And now I just do this attack the way that I would normally have done an attack. So I'm rolling these dice. I'm using the sword maiden. So that's 3, 4, 5 hits, right? Needed 3 hits. I didn't block. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Needed 1 hit. I didn't block any of their hits. So 2 of my dice have to go back. Same old, right? I have to take this yellow monster now. I would get the 7 glory for that. And I would also be able to claim 1 green dice. Now these 2 dice are going back to my board, and I have 1 green dice now. I still cannot exceed the 8 dice. So if I would have gotten the 2 from this one, and I happen to have some here, you still have that problem that you can't exceed your 8 dice limit, even though I'm now getting the archer dice. So I would keep this, and these would be cleaned up. At the end of the round, the next set would come out, and you would put out another monster and another journey card, right? So that's basically how that combat works. It just happens after we would do the sea journeys. You don't have a boat, you don't have to do a boat, you don't have to do anything special to get over here. You just put the worker there. There's not anything special to get there. There is one thing special when you're hunting, you're on the hunting grounds. On the hunting grounds, if I had committed a archer to the hunting grounds, when I rolled that archer, each hit on the archer gives me 1 food. But if I happen to have rolled that one with the little head of a deer on it, I would now get 2 food because my hunting was very profitable. So I get 2 food instead of the 1 food. I still have a maximum of being able to get the 6 food, but I would, for that, if I would have rolled that archer with the deer head on it, I would have gotten 2 food instead of 1 food for that dice. The blame token is something that I think was in the original game, but they actually just put it out here in a spot now. If you couldn't take a turn, if there was nothing you wanted to do, it happens more when you have a lot of players. But if all of the spots were taken and you don't think you can fight any of the monsters, and you're just like, well, there's nothing really I can do. It used to be that you could tip over one of your workers, lay them on their side, and say, I'm not doing anything with them. I would have to take 1 blame for that. I could take a resource of my choice, gold, wood, or food. And that's what the base rules have. I'm sorry, I'm putting these back off camera. That's what the base rules have is you would just set your guy over and you take the blame. Now I actually have a specific spot that I can put my person on. And this spot is multiple people can go here. I can put multiple of my people on here. And so I'm not turning that worker on its side. I'm just putting them on this spot. I still take the blame token and I can take a resource of my choice. So another thing to note is that they changed the look of the any dice. This is the way that the any worker dice used to look. And with this expansion, they changed it to have this question mark on it because The thought was that when you look at that, you can see a sword and a spear and an axe. Well, that doesn't include the archers. So this one with just the question mark on it became the new any dice. In final game scoring with this, you have the same thing. You're looking for sets of monsters. These monsters from the Dark Mountains just add into your monsters when you're trying to find sets. So, as an example, these three would become one set. Now, it didn't have to be these three. It could have been these three, right? Because there's the monster and that. So that's a set. It still works the same way in final game scoring. There are some special rune cards. This one lets you look at the land journey card when you flip this over. So there are special rune cards and there's special destiny cards that came with this. That one you saw had three. That one has 3 victory points at the end. There could be some special objectives that say archer dice or something like that. I can't remember one like that, but there might be one. So in final scoring, it pretty much just mixes in. There's nothing special. All right, so that's the how to play of the Dark Mountain expansion. Let's go to final thoughts. Final thoughts for Champions of Midgard, the Dark Mountain expansion. This expansion adds some to the game. There's some additional monsters that you can fight. I really did like the fact that it added a 5th player so I can play with more people. Most of my gaming groups are well north of 4, 5, 6, sometimes more than 6 players. With the storage solution expansion that I've got, I can now play this with 6 people. It plays okay with 5. It plays okay with 6. It does. Time between turns gets a little harder. You need an additional set of mobs to go after or monsters to go after. If you're playing the base game with 5 people, there's only 7 monsters you can go after. And since most of the stuff that you're trying to do is to get things after going after the monsters, there's only 7 of them out there, 5 players. That means each of you are going to get 1, and a few people are going to get 2. When you're playing this with 2 or 3 players, you have a good chance of getting 2, sometimes 3 monster fights in one round if you have the dice for it. I don't know. The 5th player, once you add that additional mountain board, it makes it so that there's an additional set of monsters to go after. I've rated the game out of 7. With this expansion, I don't think that changes. Is this expansion necessary? Well, if you have the base game and you want to play with more people than the 4, I do think it's necessary. If you have the base game and you want to try to do some of these land journeys and you really like the journeys that are on water on the boats, but you don't, the food thing gets to be a little bit fiddly, then I think this expansion is good for you. But would I say that it's absolutely necessary to play the game? I don't know. I don't think it adds that much to the game. So other than the 5th player, and if I need to play with the 5th player, I don't know that the Dark Mountain adds that much to the game. The build quality is the same as the base game. Cards are the same kind of card stock. Boards are the same basic board stock, and the dice are the same basic dice. Okay, I think that's it for final thoughts for the Dark Mountain expansion. If you've made it this long with me, thank you. If you have liked this video, please like and or subscribe to my channel if you haven't. The expansion was one that I purchased myself. This channel is not sponsored. The opinions on the channel are mine and mine alone. And with that, thanks for watching. Keep playing games, and I'll see you next time. Bye.